Here to give us a behind-the-scenes look at Shatner's history journey is Don DiCostanzo, CEO and founder of Pedego electric bikes. Don, you accompanied Shatner from New York to Van Horn, Texas, all the way from launch to re-entry. So tell us, what was it like being Shatner's wingman?
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me on. First of all, I have to tell you, it was just an amazing experience. I got to live through the whole process. I had the enviable position of being able to accompany Bill from Comic-Con to Van Horn. And from once we got to Van Horn, he was put out into training, and I was left to my own devices for a few days. And then I rejoined him on the morning of the launch and was able to be with him at just prior to the launch and then at the very end, and then fly home with him. So the experience was unbelievable. And this guy, 90 years old, I've always told Bill I want to be just like him when I grow up. This guy had the unbelievable amount of energy and enthusiasm and attitude like I've never seen on anybody at any age, let alone 90 years old.
What was he like, and what did he say to you after he had returned to Earth and was able to get a bird's eye view of our planet?
Well, there's a lot of things he shared with me. But the thing that I found most telling is that when he was up in space and he was floating around in the cabin, the most difficult time he had was getting back into his seat. Apparently, weightlessness is a huge challenge. It doesn't matter how much you're wet. And the biggest struggle he had the whole time was just to get back in the seat. He had no sense of uneasiness, no sense of fear. He and I talked about dying on the plane down. I said, Bill, are you afraid of dying? He goes, of course I'm afraid of dying, but not this week. He didn't seem to have any fear while he was prior and long after on the 2 hour and 15-minute journey back to California in the afternoon after the launch. He was animated, energetic, and I understand he only had a couple hours of sleep the night before, and he went all day. And, we took off at 4 o'clock Texas time. We landed at 4 o'clock California time, which should have been 6 o'clock Texas time. And he bounced off that plane like nothing ever happened. The guy's just amazing about what somebody can do when they're 90 years old, both mentally and physically.
Now, there was some comments about his voyage and from Prince William, and Shatner fired back at Prince William after he criticized space tourism, saying that the British Royal has got the wrong idea. Shatner told Entertainment Tonight, though, trips like his are baby steps towards getting polluting industries off of the Earth. So what was your opinion on the debate? And also, did Shatner share anything with you to kind of just bring home this idea that this is just one step closer to a better Earth, not just leaving it?
Oh, absolutely. A part of this whole mission and all this whole thing that Blue Origin is doing is all about space exploration and setting up basically colonies in space, not necessarily on a planet, but in space. And it's all small steps. And getting the exposure for young kids, this has probably done more for the space program than anything we've done in my lifetime. I mean, I remember the launch of John Glenn back in the 60s, and that was a huge boost as a young kid. And during this time, we all shared how we learned what we want to do when we become adults. And it turns out between 9 and 13 is when we were formative years. And Jeff Bezos had dinner with Will Shatner, and I heard him directly from Bill about this. And he said they had this conversation about what happens at 9 years old. Jeff Bezos, as a result of watching Star Trek and William Shatner, he drew a picture of himself as an astronaut with a space hat and all that. So as it turns out, Bill Shatner inspired him to want to go to space when Jeff Bezos was 9 years old. I find that story just amazing.
Now, Shatner is a spokesperson for Pedego Bikes. Tell us more about that partnership and why Shatner of all people.
Well, first of all, Bill became a customer first. He got 2 Pedego bikes, I think about 8 or 9 years ago. And I exchanged 2 bikes for him for just a picture of he and his wife riding the bikes, and which they graciously granted me. And we used that picture. And then about 5 years later, we came out with a new model. And Bill called me up and said, hey, Don, can I get one of your new models? And I said, sure, Bill, how about 2? So Bill took 2 of our Platinum Interceptors. And during that dialogue, he asked me what he could do to help me. Now, I've never paid Bill any money. Bill's a voluntary spokesman for the company. I asked him, well, what can I do for you, Bill? You've been so helpful to me in helping me launch this brand. And this was early in the days of electric bikes. He said he'd be willing to make a video for me. And I said, well, what can I do for you? He said, well, I'd like to get bikes for my whole family. I said, well, Bill, how many people in your family? And he said, 14. And I put my hands out and said it was a deal. So we were able to shoot a video with him and his whole family riding our electric bikes. And Bill told me on one ride we were on that he said, Don, when I'm gone, my grandkids are not going to remember Grandpa for anything but the bike rides they wanted. And he was very emotional about it. And so he goes riding with his whole family. Sometimes he invites me along, his kids, his grandkids. He said there's nothing else he can do with his family that's something they can all enjoy. And so his 14-year-old grandchild, all the way up to his adult children and his whole family, they go on these rides. And on occasion, I'm honored to be to accompany them.
And I'm honored to have you on the show. Don DiCostanzo, CEO of Pedego Electric Bikes. Thank you so much for sharing all the memories and experiences that you shared with Will and also with your company. I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.